If you're wondering where farms come into the picture for the carbon market, the answer is simple, according to David M. Max Williamson. Farmers, livestock producers, and timber owners must be involved to achieve the economies of scale needed to make a difference in reducing global warming. Williamson spoke during the virtual Mid-South Agricultural and Environmental Law Conference.
So let me talk about a little bit about how the market is starting to turn its attention to farms, because why? You all have a lot of land. There's just literally a lot of acreage in the world. U.S. is where a lot of this is getting, where the proof of the pudding is getting field tested here in the U.S. But there's a lot of the scientists behind global warming studies are really saying, if we don't use working lands and don't use what we're calling natural carbon solutions, we're never going to get the types of reductions of greenhouse gas emissions that we need to meet the international targets for solving global warming. And to put a little detail into that, is basically what they're saying is it's not enough just to turn the dial down on power plants and try to burn cleaner fuels or not switch from coal-fired power plants to renewable energy. We need to be doing these natural climate solutions, which really take advantage of the fact that forest and soil, it's not just that you're polluting less, we're actually carbon scrubbers. We're actually taking that CO2 literally out of the atmosphere and putting it into a long-term storage, either in the soil or in the tree or in the crops, and that has a climate benefit. So you're starting to see that focus on the working lands, and then of course there's a lot of co-benefits that such as water, watershed quality, nutrient reduction, which ties into water. And so there's just some of these practices that we're talking about, like no-till, for example, where it makes sense, does have a lot of benefits that can all be aggregated together. Now, you don't always get paid for them, but you get paid for the carbon. Sometimes there are water quality credit markets that have developed as well, but the carbon will be that financing tool to get the additional revenue stream to the landowner, to the farmer, in order to be able to afford to implement some of these enhanced practices. It's entirely voluntary at this point. And I say voluntary, it's not, there's no legal requirement, and it doesn't help Walmart's bottom line. So it would be a cost to invest in these carbon credits. So they'd essentially be paying the farmer to reduce carbon, and then the farmer would give Walmart the credit, which is really just the right to crow about the fact that you invested in carbon reductions and Walmart was able to reduce its carbon footprint. But I say voluntary, but in a way it's not voluntary. And this is what I mean by that, is mostly in the nonprofit world has built tremendous pressure from the consumer side of things to building this pressure on these big consumer-facing companies to do something about climate change. And so this is, in a way, a marketing concern or a marketing pressure, right? So the advocacy groups are essentially, they're not this blatant about it, but they're essentially saying, buy from company X because they're good on climate, they're doing something about climate. Don't buy from company Y that is polluting and not doing anything. And so it comes down to very similar to how the organic movement grew, right? There's no legal requirement to grow anything organically, but you're responding to consumer demand and consumer pressures.